Welcome back, everybody. Once again, we currently have our game at the heroeslaunch.gg amateur scene. So December is a little bit more quiet when it comes to the highly competitive matches that we have with HGC and all the European pro teams. But at this point right now, what we're looking at is the amateur scene. So we're going to promote those guys a bit. And of course, if you guys hear from the first time about it, then if you play in, it doesn't really matter if you play gold, if you are a plat player, if you are a diamond player, masters, grandmasters, wherever you play, you are welcome to join the league here, either as an individual player with your team. Cast Iron, thank you very much for the sub, my friend. And yeah, just head over to heroeslaunch.gg. We have 3 divisions right now. The game that we're looking at this point is a Division 1 game. And as you can see, Battlefield of Eternity is our first map. There's also a very active Discord chat that you can join if you go to heroeslaunch.gg. The website, you scroll all the way down, there's a Discord link. I have to warn you though, they are memesters. If you go in there and you drop the sloth, you will be, they will probably welcome you with open arms. If you don't know what the sloth is, you already have a problem right there. But what I'm saying is it's a pretty cool community, so you should definitely check it out. For all the NA viewers, you have something similar. You should probably have heard about that already, but if you didn't, go and check out Chair League. They do the same thing more or less for North America. So yeah, support to the grassroots scene. Zero Tinder matches is going up against the Jaywalkers, and I feel sad for one team already from the name, and I'm not quite sure what the other team is trying to tell me here. Apparently they are rebels without a real cause, because jaywalking is not really the biggest offense. So in terms of like bans on the map, we have a ban on Tyrael, which actually surprises me a fair bit. I'm not 100% certain what's happening here, to be quite honest. The one thing that I really want you to realize is that we're not casting the most super high level play, in the sense that all these guys are grandmasters, the top 8 player, or that belong to the top 8 teams in the world. So we're going to see a lot of preference picks. We're going to see also a couple of just like drafts where that simply say, okay, we don't have the highest hero pool here. And the one thing that I want to point out is that with the ban on Tyrael, this looks very much like we're going to, that this is a target ban. Normally, you wouldn't really say that Tyrael is a first ban on a map like Battlefield of Eternity. There's absolutely zero reason to actually ban out the Tyrael unless you know that your opponent is playing a certain style, really prefers the hero, and you don't want to deal with that. So a good example would that to be is determined, for example, on certain maps, really loves to play Medivh, and against no other team in the world would you ban Medivh first, but a lot of the European teams have actually done that in the past, because they just simply said, you know what, we are not going to deal with this. So right now, we're having the Tyrael banned out for that reason. We're seeing Vala, she's pretty strong on the map, usually with a Q build. You try to go for the arrow build to get the extra damage in against the Immortal, and that's also one of the reasons why we have this focus on heroes like Sylvanas and Lunara right now. After level 7, both of them are doing really, really well against the Immortal, against the objective itself, especially with the barbed shot on the side of Sylvanas. And of course, the one thing to also highlight with it is that she can just empower the push with the Immortal way better than any other hero in the game, because she can disable towers, forts, and keeps. With the rest of the pickup that we're seeing for the Jaywalkers, they already have ETC, which is always amazing. We have an Alarak that at the beginning of the game is very likely to take the solo lane at the top. Traditionally, it's the top lane. We could see them trying to push with Sylvanas maybe a little bit heavier here. And yeah, with the bans that we are seeing right now, we have the Oriel banned out. So Malfurion already taken. Oriel banned is a very strong healer during all of these fights. So pushing the Jaywalkers into a Brightwing, into maybe a Rhaegar, still great healers, but Oriel is a hero that a lot of teams don't really like to go up against. The Tame and Strike can be an absolute horror to deal with if you have an Oriel that is really on point with her Aegis, with her ult. Then that's another real problem, especially if you're trying to blow someone up, if you're relying on a blow-up comp, which so far isn't really necessarily the case for Tinder matches, but it's still one of these things that is, of course, a factor. So the Tigers plus the Lunara. There's already a fair amount of damage that you have here. It's actually a lot of damage in this setup. The Jaywalkers, on the other hand, they are lacking their healer, and they're most likely going to pick up a second range damage dealer. We're still having a few around here. I'm still wondering if we could maybe see... Alright, that's a no there already. I was wondering if we may be seeing Zarya in this setup, but we have a Thrall first of all. He's going to take the solo lane against the Alarak, and with Earthquake he's also going to try and focus on these like one-point fights that we're having over the Immortals. I could still see something along the lines of a Gul'dan. I mean, this is a 2-lane map. You don't necessarily get the same amount of wave clear in as on Infernal Shrines and on Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's not his best map necessarily. We have other options here for them as well. False is still around, just like looking at it right now. So we could see a false stat being played by the Jaywalkers. A mage character for them would be maybe the Jaina. Could theoretically go into the Khaldors as well, even though we don't see him these days anymore, or not that much. Occasionally he makes an appearance on Tomb of the Spider Queen. But besides that, we have them with one healer so far, and that's the Kharazim. It's actually interesting that they prioritize the Kharazim now over Brightwing and the potential Rhaegar. Especially Rhaegar with a Lightning Bond on level 1 can give you a bit of additional value on this map, since you get more damage in against Demodo, so if you're trying to race, you have a slight advantage there. I'm wondering if they are playing Kharazim together with a second hero that it can at least shield, which would bring us back to the potential Zarya. But nope, they actually go for the Khaldors here. So Khaldors taken. The Kharazim still a bit unorthodox, I want to say, in this setup. Not saying that he's bad or that he can't be played. We have several teams in Korea that played him. We have teams in Europe that played him too. But the priority is interesting, considering that we still have very good supports for this map and this objective available. I would have expected a Rhaegar with the setup, to be absolutely honest with you. Against the Lunara, he's not actually bad. He has the heals with the chain heal. We have him with the Lightning Bond, as mentioned before. And 0 Tinder matches, they go for the Johanna in the setup right now, which makes perfect sense. Muradin banned out, ETC taken. Johanna is a very solid option for them. So yeah, very good draft. I actually like what we're seeing for 0 Tinder matches. It has a lot of synergy that we're having there. They have decent damage. Lunara is going to poke, and Tigers is going to try and finish the kill off. When we're talking Jaywalkers, of course, they're going to rely heavily on the Alarak. They're also going to rely on Khaldors getting his quest talent together. Question on my end is more, is Kharazim going to be enough to actually heal out the damage that we're having from the opponent's side? So that question is going to be answered in the game itself. We're going to head right over to our first map, Battlefield of Eternity. Game on, everybody! We have our first map. It is Battlefield of Eternity, and currently we're looking at a heroeslaunch.gg game between the Jaywalkers and 0 Tinder matches. Feels bad, man. To the left side, the Jaywalkers with Big Lupu on ETC, not to be confused with Little Lupu, which is his annoying brother, playing Gazlo every game as a first pick. We currently have Hailfrost on Khaldors, we see Nebet on Kharazim, Ravatar on Alarak, and Crimson Weep on Sylvanas. And to the right side of the map, their opponent, the 0 Tinder matches, currently with Disco on Thrall, Mamba on Johanna, Radboud on Tychus, WSC on Malfurion, and Stonku is playing Lunara. Alright, bot lane already, and the Sylvanas shenanigans about to start, but as it happens, everybody is down here just waiting for them, so they decide to just like move back. Interestingly enough, we actually are seeing Kharazim going into Insight. Now the thing is that once you get the quest talent completed, Insight can actually be absolutely amazing for you, and you get decent heal numbers out. The big problem that you have is in the early game, your heal is rather garbage, and that's a bit of a problem. So the cooldown reduction is what you're really aiming for, and against Lunara, they're going to suffer a lot until the talent is completed. They really need those extra heals, and not going into Transcendence is going to be a bit rough. It's one of the reasons, by the way, still, why we probably have the Guitar Hero here for the extra heals on ETC, since he's a bit worried about that situation. Thrall and Alarak at the top lane, kind of expecting that already. We were talking about it a bit earlier. Going to keep both eyes on our good friend Kharazim, as he is about to take down Lunara. Girl, you need to be a little bit careful. Hop, Bambi, hop. Level 1 talent, also the power conduit taken for Alarak. Now, usually it's a bit more of a focus on telekinesis, but in this case, we have a bit of an adjustment here. So Alarak can be a huge playmaker, especially if you have that extra range. Telekinesis is an extremely powerful tool, but he's trying to go for the extra poke here at the top lane. He can spam that out now without having to worry about his mana. Yeah, already the move against Johanna, also trying to take the counter potential against ETC. That didn't quite work out, but both of the teams really starting to be a bit aggressive here in this setup. Talking about aggression, up at the top lane, the 2 melee assassins are now starting to join up. Everybody is rather low, and the teams are just trying to go for a race right now. Paralysis taken for Sylvanas, very traditional talent taken there. And we have actually Khaldors with the mana addict, so a little bit afraid apparently of being faced with that Thrall, not going into his Flame Strike talent, which I personally really thought he would go for, so that they have the additional poke. Normally when you're having this setup, you should be able to get that completed fairly easily as long as you play safe and let the rest of the team heal for you. But he decided against it. Once they have the shield, and then there's the mana here. Oh, there's the telekinesis. Nice into the corner, and a good confirmed kill against Johanna. The blue team with a very nice defense is their own immortal, as they were realizing that they would lose the poke battle. But the poke is still ongoing. Sylvana's the only one moving over to the left side to try and take this one. Also, we still have Tychus poking a little bit. Ah, spreading the love. He wasn't quite sure. He was teasing Thrall a bit, and Thrall was, come on over, buddy. Give it to me. And yep, there's an extra living bomb for you too. That's the moment Disco probably said, like, alright, dude, you're out. We're gonna replace you. Oh, I'm talking about, like, replacing stuff. Look at that kill potential. Yes, Kalthas is down. Counter kill against Thrall, though, was trying to keep himself alive for a second with a few ability uses. But the race is on again. Who's gonna win that? Oh my god. The blue team actually took it. A real close call here, but they were able to get it. They are currently trying to make sure that none of the globes are being taken. ETC moving in to claim them. Level 4 talents are now in, which brings us to the mana tap for Kalthas. Wow, he's a really hungry bastard. So first of all, mana pool increase and then the mana tap as well. Didn't see that coming, but yeah, he's not gonna run out of mana, I can tell you that much already. So besides that, they're having the Lost Soul taken for Sylvana, so all about the cooldown reduction. Spam that out as much as you can. Hit that W. Yeah, also 27 stacks only so far on the inside for Karazhan. Again, his heal power is not really going to be all that great until he has that talent complete and gets cooldown reduction. We're seeing in the meantime the Laws of Hope. We're having also, after Natural Perspective, the Nimble Wisp now taken. And keep in mind that that hero is especially going to become valuable when the level 7 is in. To the top lane, our two melee assassins are still doing their thing. And yeah, so far, pretty even match actually, apparently. Ravatar is currently eating a bit too much damage from those minions, but Disco is just like spamming away with the chain lightning. The real battle is at the bot lane. That's where we are currently seeing the blue team, the Jaywalkers, taking the first camp. But still, overall, 2 kills against 1 is still a fairly even match, and the experience lead that we're seeing for the Jaywalkers is not really too crazy. It's the 2 towers that they took down at the bot lane, that's already about it. We're also now seeing the Earth ally taken to reduce that damage a little bit during these fights, so that's definitely going to help them, but I'm really not quite sure how they're going to deal with the level 10 once that Lunara gets extra damage in. So I'm really curious to see how much of an impact Karazhan is going to have in the mid game. For now, it's the Burnt Flesh. It's an interesting build that Kalthas has here. I really feel going into the level 1 talent and playing it a bit safe and waiting for that damage would have helped them there. But I guess overall, they didn't really want to stack too many of the... stack too many of the quest talents. We're having now also the Heavenly Zeal taken. The movement speed is pretty much the norm that we have on level 7 these days. The Endless Energy after the double cross has also now been dropped, the Barbed Shot. And this is with level 7 versus 7 any moment now. This is really what the teams have been waiting for. Getting that second Punisher. Uh-oh, if Mamba dies here, that would be a disaster for them. But they're going really deep for that potential kill, and they might actually be a little bit too deep for this. Kalthas is still there, 2 versus 3 down here. We're now seeing the Crusade marches on, and we have by now the Nature's Culling. And this is exactly what Lunara, of course, is about. That's what she brings to the map. So level 7 versus level 7. They're starting to poke this, but the blue team is a little bit faster with the pressure play, so they're probably going to win the race to the halftime show. And, or do they? Actually, it starts to look the exact other way. Taika is a beast, and so is Thrall. So overall, the battle extremely even. And we have Cleanse taken from Malfurion. He needs to make sure that he uses that properly once that the Gravity Lapse is in play, once that we have those ETC power slides to lock down a target. But the poke battle is starting towards the blue team's Immortal. And this is where Lunara is really going to start to just get a hit in every now and then, let the poison do their work for them. Nice lockdown against Kalthas, but the stun against Malf. Stun into stun, and goodbye, buddy. Malf is down, Lunara doing what she can. Johanna rushing away with the Iron Skin activated, but Lunara eliminated as Alarak follows her. And this is a kill against Johanna up at the top too. Malfurion being caught in those stuns being a huge problem for them. They were actually looking very solid, but they needed to poke from a distance, and they neglected to do that. Now they are far behind. unnecessary death of Tychus now too far out, couldn't really do anything here, and ETC takes the opportunity to slide in and drop him. That's a massive lead with 1.5 levels, and they are now with that second Immortal going through that top lane, and keep the Sylvanas in mind. That's going to be her job. Disable the towers, already low on ammunition, one of them, the other one is also not going to do a thing. Sylvanas is there immediately. This is going to be insanely difficult to defend. That Immortal is very early in the game, not scaling too hard yet, but we have level 10. And ETC with a stage dive could just simply jump in. We already have the Phoenix on the ground, could have thrown that in maybe a little bit deeper to the zone of the opponent. But one way or another, the keep is down, or the fort is down. ETC slides in, gets rooted in place right away, has to move out, but the double kill as we see Malfurion and Lunara both die. 2 exposed, locked down and taken down. Now we have them pushing for keep already. Thrall, the only one down at the bottom of the map. He doesn't even go back. He wants the experience. He wants to try and bring them level 10, but that's of course more or less a lost cause. Look at that Immortal. He still has so many hit points because Sylvanas says, well, I got this, boys. Drops the W, and there goes the keep. 93 stacks on the inside for Karazim. So his healing numbers at this point, let's have a quick look at them, are at 30,000, beating Malfurion handily, by the way. Malfurion is at 12k. Couldn't really get that healing just yet. Even without the insight, an easy job for Karazim. The cooldown reduction is going to make it even easier for him to get those numbers up. And yeah, the question was always, how can he measure up against the Lunara? And so far they're doing really well. 8 kills against 1, more or less telling the story here. So it feels like in this game they are a bit outmatched. Especially the poke game that they want to play has not worked out for them. So the blue team mercilessly moves cross-map and takes one structure after another, utilizing that Sylvanas as much as they can. They had vision up at the top lane on a few of the heroes, and they are just not afraid to go for the second keep. And taking that camp at that top lane is not going to do anything for you. The camp is taken, now they know they have even more time. The wall is definitely going to fall, and that's level 13. They just play incredibly aggressive right now, and that's an extra talent. This is an extra talent at this point. I mean, how do you deal with this situation? 6 stands taken, Pyromaniac, we have the Encore as well now on the side of ETC. Psychokinesis for the damage, but like, this is an extra talent. You are 8 versus 1, you take the camps, you have the keep, you already took the wall at the bottom keep. You win another Immortal at this point and you are looking at a potential victory. So right now, the only thing that can really turn the tides of this match is if the red team gets, I mean, maybe not a team-wide, but at least a couple of kills. Okay, they're poking away. There's where Lunara starts to work in. Again, Thrall not using his Earthquake. He was trying, but got interrupted. Now we're having, oh my god, like that is a disaster. They lose 2, they lose 3. This could be a team wipe here. Johanna is definitely going to die. I think Tychus might be able to escape, but he's the only one. Mounts up and rushes away. I guess if Thrall gets the Earthquake through, they have a chance of winning that fight, but with him being immediately immobilized and interrupted, they just couldn't win that. Thrall had that mini cooldown, he had those 10 seconds, and at this point it was just a lost cause. With him not being able to use it, they just completely get annihilated here. They don't even have to push for core. I would actually like them not to, and they move back. With the death timers being so low at this point, you cannot really go for a kill here. So instead they're moving into the middle, they're just trying to get another Immortal, and since both of the keeps are already down, that Immortal would go straight for the core and you can end it with that. So they're just like trying to race it, and as you can see they already have a bit of a head start here. So the halftime show is easily reached for them, and they can now take that team battle too. The only problem is that despite all the talents taken, we actually see Karazim with a bit of a mana problem. So he had to move back for now. And it's by now fine. 24,000 by the way on the side of Khaldor. We still see 23,000, 24,000 for Sylvanas and Adorak. Here comes the Earthquake this time. The fight is there. ETC moved back, stage dives in again and drops Lunara. Goodbye. Great palm also used. Nebet on his Karazim, doing a decent job keeping his teammates alive. Very good job actually. And we're having now 15 kills against 1, a triple kill against the red team, and they are just going down in flames here. That's another Immortal in favor of the Jaywalkers, and they are walking towards that core right now. There's going to be a 5-man defense, of course, but we have a 3-level lead, 15 kills against 1, and that is pretty brutal. That Immortal alone is already going to do so much, so the only chance that they have is getting killed first. Actually, we have by now Lunara doing a whole lot of damage. The problem is keeping her alive, and that's a kill already against Malfurion. So no more heals for you, my friend. This is really the biggest issue. They have the damage output after 10, but even before 10, they just fell so far behind they could never make that comeback happen. And losing heroes like Malfurion this early in these fights is just a big problem. Thrall is dead as well. There's just no ult being used, not even getting the Earthquake in. And now we have also Lunara being eliminated. That's the damage right there. Goodbye, game number 1. The lead for the Jaywalkers in the best of 3 series here at heroeslaunch.gg Division 1. GG. Welcome. The last game was a bit rough for 0 Tinder matches. So far, they didn't only get 0 Tinder matches, they also had 0 success. They are trying to change that though. On Tomb of the Spider Queen against Jaywalkers, who are currently in the lead, and I'm curious to see what the draft is going to show us this time. Because at this point, it was a pretty big stomp that we had. It was a bit of a snowball stomp too, so especially with Sylvanas, that happens. Question is now, how are they going to approach Tomb of the Spider Queen? I could see them go into maybe even a ban on Sylvanas if they're worried that the same thing might happen there again. But for now, it's actually their opponent, or yeah, it's them banning first. And they ban Tyrael again, so it's definitely, I mean, what we're seeing here is definitely a target ban. These guys are familiar with each other. There's, of course, a few games already played in. Actually, for both of the teams, I don't think that they actually played yet in their division. But overall, in the first season, of course, have been a few plays. So right now, the Tyrael is banned out again. 0 Tinder matches. They hate Tyrael. And the Jaywalkers, what are they going to get rid of here? I mean, there's an abundance of heroes that they can ban out here. Sylvanas, Azul, if you're afraid of that stuff. The Gul'dan is always a great pick. You can get rid of ETC. I mean, we have seen Alarak's banned like in kind of like solo laner. So it really comes down to if you know what your team prefers to play and what you hate to play against. And the Jaywalkers, they ban out Zul. He can rotate between the lanes easily. He can get you that wave clear that a lot of the teams are very weary of. So the 0 Tinder matches with their first pick can now make the decision of how they want to shape this up. We could see them again with that ETC. The playmaker potential that you have on the hero is absolutely fantastic. Other heroes that are very strong on the map are still the Sylvanas that you can go for if you want to try and snowball it here. You can go for the Gul'dan. He has received a huge priority on this map in particular. Malfurion is still a great first pick, so you can combo a lot of other heroes with him later on, being it a Gul'dan, a Li Ming, a Vala. Malf with a cooldown reduction is always got your back here. Even though in the last map, they didn't really get a lot of healing power out of him. But they are trying to, first of all, take Sylvanas away from the opponent and also, of course, capitalize on her and the potential that she represents in those snowbally map scenarios. So Sylvanas' first pick it is, whereas the Jaywalkers now have the Malfurion open. They can go Malfurion Gul'dan. They could go into an early Vala. We could see the ETC with any kind of setup here for them. So did a fair amount of work actually in the last game for them, but let's see how they're going to play this. This is also a map where you can still go for Johanna if you want to play her. This is also a map where we have seen a lot of Leorics. Like, it's really a lot of preference of what you're actually going to play here. But I would expect them to add the Malfurion here early on. Then again, they played Karazhan last game, right? And super early in the game itself. Zarya is also very strong on the map. We've seen a lot of teams prioritize her here. So they go in super early Zarya, and yeah. Are we going to see a healer for them? They don't seem to prioritize Malfurion as highly as others do. There's the Gul'dan. Okay, I like that. So yeah, they leave Malfurion. If you go into that Karazhan, even though there's a lot of other healers still around, you basically just show that you're totally happy playing a different healer. So 0 Tinder matches, they have now their pick of heals. If they want it, they can go for the Malfurion here still, and can secure their frontline too, which could still be the ETC. Since we don't have a full frontliner for Jaywalkers just yet, they could also just like try and ban another one then out later after banning the Tyrael already. They could go into ETC, ban out the Johanna, ban out the Muradin, one of the two. But damage and heals, or even the front line, it's all there. Okay, so we're seeing them with a Vala first. Malf would still be a great pick for them here. A Tassadar, okay, so this is actually a bit of an interesting choice. It more... I mean, the one reason why it's a bit interesting is because you very rarely see Tacita as your solo healer anymore. Fnatic used to play it quite a bit on this map and go for a bit of a poke battle, but lately it hasn't really been a big deal anymore. And usually when you're playing a Tacita on this map, you're trying to first of all get, of course, vision, but you also tend to use it with another melee hero. So besides the tank, so let's say any kind, like a Carrigan for example, any kind of assassin that couldn't jump in. But they only have 2 slots left, so if they go for a main healer, they still need a tank, which means that they are just basically playing a double heal with a single tank here. That keeps, I would say, Vala a little bit safer. You have the vision on the map still, but it leaves you in a bit of an odd spot where the bot lane was most likely going to be taken by Sylvanas in that setup then. And against the lineup that they're running up right now, I'm not 100% certain if that is really going to be the key to success here for them. So they ban out the Malf, and we have Johanna already taken away. The Jaywalkers basically just like trying to choke out the priority tanks. They still can take ETC, and I would expect them to be fine with Muradin here. ETC has the playmaker potential that they need. Good slides as well. Could provide a stun setup for Gul'dan to get his corruption in. So I would expect them to go ETC, take the healer now, and just respond to the opponent in the opponent's last picks on their last one, so that they get the damage dealer in. I mean, it's very unlikely that Zero Tinder matches is adding another damage dealer here now. There's already the Oriel, so healer is in. Frontline, ETC, Muradin, those are the 2 likely choices. I could have seen them go into a Johanna as well, by the way, even increase the wave play here. I'm wondering if they are thinking... They actually do it. This is a placemaker pick. I was wondering about this. They actually pick Varian here. Varian, after 16, can of course just annihilate shields, so apparently they are picking him here. They're fine playing Varian with the setup that they have. First of all, a main healer and then Zarya for the shields, and they just basically say, we are going to break through the shields that Tacita is going to throw out with his 16 talent. I mean, that's going to come into play a bit late in the game, so I'm not 100... Like, I like the idea. The thing is, on Tomb of the Spider Queen, oftentimes you are trying to get such an early lead that waiting for 16 is not gonna be, I don't know, it is oftentimes not really worth it. I mean, you want to have a decisive lead by then, ideally. And I think an ETC overall in the early game might have provided a bit more for them. But Varian can be quite powerful. We've seen a few teams that are trying to play him as a main tank, which can be done. Taunt is also very nice in that setup. So let's see how they're going to run that now. We have ETC taken, and I would still expect them to go for a main healer. I mean, you can... Fnatic in the past on this map has played Tacita solo and an ETC with groupies back then. So I would doubt that, though. So they go for the Brightwing. I'm not quite sure how much this lineup is going to do for them here. They have decent wave clear though, so that's definitely a bit of a lead. They need to keep ETC alive, which they should be able to do with a double healer. Jaywalkers then, on the other hand, they can still pick Li Ming as their damage on last tier. They can actually... Let me see what else is available right now. They could also direct drop double mage. No, not really. I mean, there's a false that's still around if you want to. They played... no, they didn't play Little Lara in the last game. I mean, they could even play Grey main here, to be honest. I mean, one way or another, it's a preference thing, but they go for another frontliner. So they have a Varian and an Alarak. Alarak is also going to take the bot lane here. And then the Zarya plus the Gul'dan. Still solid damage, and shields galore. Also should have enough energy to really just like spam out the heals with Oriel. It's a solid setup. I'm really, like, for Zero Tinder matches, I don't really mind the setup itself. I just think that for the map here, it might become a bit of an issue. They have great vision, on the other hand. They really have all the vision over the turn-in spots. That oftentimes is one of the main issues why you want to pick a Tacita here. But let's see how this is going to work out for them. I'm a bit afraid that the lineup that we have for the Jaywalkers is just too strong. They have good shields, they have good engage, they have also like the poke with the corruption. So guys, Tomb of the Spider Queen it is. The Jaywalkers are in the lead, and Zero Tinder matches need to win 2 in a row now if they want to decide the best of 3 series in their favor. So let's hop in and find out which team is going to take it here. Alright everybody, the game has just started and, well, the teams are trying to test me right now. Yeah, this is basically a bit of a casa test that they have, but I am on point with this, so yeah, I'm a professional, I know how to do this. So basically what happened, apparently, like both teams swapped a few of the players out. We are in an amateur scene, so the teams are apparently like a lot stronger than only 5 players. So a few got swapped out. Renella is new on the side of the 0 Tinder matches. We have Disco on Tassadar, Renella on Sylvana, Stronko and Vala Mamba on ETC, and WSC on Brightwing. And we also had 2 swaps on the side of their opponent, the Jaywalkers, currently in the lead in the series. Ravata on Alalak, Sir Pietro on Varian instead of Lupu. We have Doro on Oriel, who's also new addition here. Crimson Weep on Zarya, and Hailfrost is playing Gul'dan. So it was a bit confusing for a moment. There was already a theory that the team needs 7 players in case that someone picks Vikings. Kappa. But yeah, that being said, of course, we are still here in a pretty friendly environment. Again, this is the amateur scene. These guys are mainly here to have some fun in the play in a bit more of a competitive environment compared to what you usually face in Battle.net. But for now, we are seeing the lead in the series here. Here's LongG. We have an interesting setup at the bot lane. Now, if you are Brightwing and you face an Alarak at your bot lane, you know your mistakes were made. So, yeah, good luck with that, my friend. Let's see how that's going to work out. Normally you will want to follow the 4-man rotation, but right now I'm very tempted to just look at that bot lane and see when the disaster completely takes place, because Ravata is already zoning that out. Takes a little bit too much damage, actually. Yeah, don't stand in that circle, dude. That hurts a lot. Oh, yeah, gets polymorphed there. If he controls those... Yeah, hitting that combo would help. Alright, but Ravata should win this against Brightwing. I mean, Brightwing was always a bit of a beast on the lane, especially when she still had that bug that she double healed, which made it very annoying to play against her lane, but right now Alarak should actually take that. So, that being said, we already have the Lion's Maw taken on the side of Varian, so he wants that extra damage and the slow after the quest talent is completed. Of course, Gul'dan is really the main hero to watch out for when it comes to quest talents, though. His corruption is at 7 stacks already, going straight into the echoed corruption, as you would expect. Talents are basically what's, yeah, pretty much the norm. With the unfurling spray, maybe to be noted, so not going into any shield builds that we're having. Down to the bot lane already, we had Brightwing tabbing the well and still eating the damage from Alarak, but help is on the way, and Alarak did not see that coming, and boom! Down he goes. Now that's a pretty bad spot to be in, because first of all, you're going to lose out experience, because that wave is going to run into that tower. Second of all, you just lost a fair amount of gems. So that definitely didn't go well for the Jaywalkers. That's a pretty big setback already. In experience, it didn't matter too much yet, but it will play a role, and it's more about the gems than anything else right now. So level 4 talents are in, and that gives us a shield wall on the side of Varian, which actually surprised me a little bit. I still expected the stun here to see them go for a setup, which right now they're not doing. So instead it is just trying to be the main tank, trying to mitigate as much of the damage that can possibly be thrown at you. Also Gul'dan heading into the Consume Soul here. We're seeing the heavy burden on Oriel, and we have the double cross. But again the power conduit. So not really going to the telekinesis, which is kind of interesting. I mean, usually the telekinesis is what you see in nearly every setup, but as he is on the solo lane and apparently a bit afraid that he might have a problem down here, we're seeing him instead going for that. Nice! The body blocks. Bumba on the ETC is like saying, like, dude, are you for real? Just let me through here. I'm just gonna slide in. He went on level 4, by the way, for loudspeakers, so the extra knockback range. We're having the battle here in the mid lane. And these sounds are brought to you by our very own Vala, just firing away here, going to the cowgirl skin. I like it. Is he riding the money pick? Nah. Dude, you could have scored so many points if we would have chosen the money pick as well, but I guess you can't. So, still 17 stacks on Khaldor. He is getting a fair amount in, is on 19 already, so we are 4 minutes in. And yeah, he will have a huge power spike fairly soon. Besides that, we have the turn-in here with 26 of the gems already handed in. But interestingly enough, we have still a huge amount on the side of the blue team. Like, they actually lost the gems. Oh, sorry, the red team obviously lost the gems at the moment. For a second, I blanked completely. I was like, how on earth is the blue team holding more gems than the red team? But yeah, this of course. No, how on... I confused myself, and then when I tried to explain how I confused myself, I confused myself again. I think I need another coffee. This is like the only thing I can have. But yeah, the red team turns in first. So the blue team not really taking the lead here. They had the kill at bot lane, which took a couple of the gems away from the red team, but they still could not get the turn in. Colors Embrace with the power spike for now. And we're also seeing now Arsenal taken, so trying to go for the extra wave clear. Barbed Shot ends for Brightwing. 25 stacks, by the way, for Gul'dan. And we're having in the meantime here also to the limit taken. I haven't seen that in a long time. So, interesting. Okay, so more for the basic attacks here. I mean, this is a little bit like, it's a bit interesting. I mean, taking the level 1 talent with the maximum charge is something that you still see occasionally from Zarya players. Tassadar, by the way, sniped away, and that could be a kill against Mamba. I was actually surprised that Varian didn't go for ETC here. More often than not, you are seeing focus on the particle grenade on level 1 and level 7. So that's the more common approach. But the red team is once again completely destroying that early game. They lost Alarak at that bot lane at the start, but since then they not only secured the first web weaver wave for themselves, they really get the damage in with it. It's an entire fort that they just took down. They're not stopping there. They went through the wall in the middle of the map and are now going for fort number 2. ETC is trying to make something happen here, but that doesn't look good. Look at the experience alone. It's a 1.5 level lead. They're heading into 10 already. And this is more than nasty. They don't have the gem count for a second turn-in right now, which is the only thing that saves the blue team, because if they get a double turn-in and deny it to the 0 Tinder matches, then boy, are they in trouble. Chaos Reigns has been taken. We're seeing the lift by the sword, which can actually be pretty awesome to just make sure that Varian has the survivability. The way that they're playing Varian is obviously as a main tank, so they need to account for that. When it comes to the stacks, by the way, 25 is currently the number on Gul'dan, so he needs another 15 before it has it completed. So there's the deadly charge, and we're also seeing the taunt now taken for Varians as the main tank goes in that. And not the explosion zone. Nope, Graviton Surge it is. So lock him in. It's actually like interesting, because we have like still the Horrify, obviously. So yeah, the Discord, the deadly charge together with the Graviton Surge, that could be quite fun. There's a couple of really cool plays that you can make with this deadly charge, even though it's not really the most common talent in the competitive scene. But yeah, they are very close right now to another turn, and they need a few more gems and then they're good to go. And that's of course what they're aiming for here. Level 11 versus level 10, the blue team playing very safe right now, very far back, because they know what's at stake here. But the top lane, that's what we're currently seeing, is still nice. Good stacks for Hailfrost. Had a bit of trouble getting a stacking process going again, because there were not really a lot of battles happening since the blue team was just falling back, but now he can finally get his corruption in place again. Now we have Brightwing with the immediate disengage potential, thanks to the Emerald Winds also now. Yeah. The David Strike didn't really do anything here. Gul'dan is... Oh, yeah, okay, there we have the tap. I was just about to say, he's running out of mana. Taps there. And he does, so now he can interrupt it a little bit longer, but they're close to a turn-in. Good grenade as well. They're just poking, continuing to poke, as is 31 stacks on Gul'dan. Gets them in once more. Zarya in a bit of trouble. Could try and get that kill confirmed, but Alarak is just now joining up. Blue Web Weavers are going to be descending, so they at least get the turn-in. But we have still, in terms of kills, once again one. Taunt has already been used a little bit earlier. Very low cooldown, of course, but Varian is trying to see if he can follow that up again. The taunt is still active, and they're trying to go for it. Brightwing about to be drawn. Oh, the deadly charge is in. Oh, they didn't time that properly, but look at that damage output. Brightwing still goes down. Graviton Surge used against 3, and they were able to at least get the kill against Brightwing. They might even get the one against Bala. She's on the run. Gul'dan with decent damage against Tassadar. Shields everywhere. Tassadar slowed down and eliminated as they're heading for ETC. 55 gems, and they are all gone. Wow, they get the triple kill. The gems are lost. They still have to interrupt against Bala. Alright, they still have to defeat the Web Weavers, but 4 kills against 1, level 12, nearly 13. Looking good. So they are actually like looking really strong here. Once again, they switched a few players, but they didn't switch the winning recipe apparently. Take them down and drop them in the team fight. So yeah, Pretty interesting setup here for them, and I would have loved to see a Graviton Surge and then the Deadly Charge, but the way they executed it worked quite well too. Getting the triple in and then having the combo on the side of Alarak drop Right Wing, and they followed it up with really nice damage afterwards. Now they have the level 13 talents, and with that we're seeing the banner of Dalaran. Extra ability power. Gul'dan is going to be happy about it. Brightwing, not so much. Already dropping here, even without the help of the banner. Besides that, we have the Harvest Life now taken on 13 for him. And yeah, he can just like stay in a little bit longer and use that life drain. I haven't, like, at the beginning when Gul'dan was introduced, I still remember that a few of the pros actually practiced with Gul'dan on the PTR to see what could happen with them. And one of the builds that was preferred back then was actually a full life drain hold. And it after a while got out of fashion pretty fast actually, because the corruption build is just so incredibly strong. But it was really funny to see some of the battles after level 13 and when you went full into life drain, when heroes at the beginning, obviously nobody knew how strong is that hero, so when he saw Gul'dan he just jumped him. Gul'dan just like turned around, and as long as he didn't have a stun he just drained your life, and those guys usually realize really fast that they should probably move back again. In this case, there are enough interrupts there. We have the ETC, we have also Vala, Sylvanas, with a lot of potential for that. But let's find out how that's going to work out. I mean, the life drain can be a saving grace depending on the setup here in that back line. But right now, they're not really afraid of anything either way. Because we have them with the talent advantage. They have the Web Weavers coming into play once more. Gul'dan hasn't completed his stacks yet. He's at 35. ETC with a mosh pit. Oriel. Oh, this could hurt, and it will. Brightwing with the Emerald Wind. But the combo of Valorant is... And they are down. Triple kill. And they're on the run again, but Mamba is eliminated as the telekinesis is pushing him back once more. Alarak with really nice play here so far. Currently, when we're looking at the damage output, he's only at 20k, but we have 26,000 for Gul'dan, who capitalizes every single time that we see the telekinesis being dropped here. Level 13 in just a few seconds against level 16 talents. That's what's going to happen next. But the keep is already about to fall, and we see the Web Weavers pressure through the mid, through the bot lane, as both the teams pick up their next talent. The big difference is that it's 60 for one, 30 for the other, so the 3-level lead is really coming to play here. The wall in the middle has fallen, and the bot lane, the Web Weaver, is doing even more, and I mean, this is brutal. So far, there's definitely a difference that we have in skill between the two teams here for sure. Mamba, whoa! Eating a ton of damage. The entire Web Weaver wave just hit him hard, and that is dropping him to less than 50% HP. Down here, the wall has fallen too. They were even thinking about making a play for the keep itself. Decided against it. There's a Shattering Throw, and that's the talent that we've been talking about during draft. They are able to actually make that massive lead happen still, but the shields on Tacita are not really going to do a whole lot in these situations. They haven't really made a difference. And I mean, this is one of the things that we talked about during the draft. Yes, you have a double support here, but the problem is that your opponent is just out-damaging you so hard, especially now after the Echoed Corruption got completed. We're having on 16 when we're adding the Luna's Affliction. We're seeing the Wrath of Heaven. So guys, we have Wrath of Heaven and the Banner of Dalaran. Like, Gul'dan is just sitting in these team fights, nobody gets even close to him. If somebody does, then we already have a shield on Zarya on him. And he's just saying, like, thank you boys, throws out the damage, and there's very little you can do about it. This is a Hail Mary move that we see here. They actually moved back, realized that they won't be able to contest this. 1 kill against 9, and this is just spelling disaster. The boss going through the top lane. Guess how many gems we have right now? 64. They only need 60, so that's another turn-in completed. And that means that we're going to have just, like, yeah, lanes go down. They could even just, like, burst this wave down to allow the Web Weavers to move forward even more. Going through the top lane at the moment. Just getting the minions out of the way, trying to follow it up with a boss. If Gul'dan gets at least Corruption, that would be great fun. Doesn't hit anything with it though, but we could still see Varian start to engage here. He has his taunt ready. If you isolate some more, that would help. But the boss is already defeated. So the boss didn't really do too much yet. I mean, we're 30 minutes in, 13. Didn't really do a whole lot. But at the same time, the one thing that's really important is they got the Web Weavers moving and they want to end. So they're not focusing on the mid 4, they're not focusing, mid keep or bot keep. They're going to the top. They're trying to go for the keep right now, for the core right now. And if they get a kill, that's definitely going to happen. Banner could be on the ground. ETC is in. Mosh Pit. And immediately the Graviton Surge has been used. They could jump for it. Where's the combo? And there we have it. Triple combo by Alarak. gets 3 heroes. The only one that survives is Tacita. A triple kill as Brightwing falls too. Didn't even have to use the deadly charge here, and the GG already called out as this is going to be a 2-0 victory on the side of the Jaywalkers. Dropping their opponent, killing Tacita. Very solid performance here by them, even after the players swapped. 13 kills against 1, a 2-0 victory in the best of 3 at heroeslaunch.gg. GG, and well played.